I'm here with Duncan McKechnie at Wells Golf Club, as it happens, and we're just concerned with the sun, and of course this man's from South Africa. How long have you been over here?
15 years now, in fact.
15?
15, yeah.
15, so you're born in South Africa?
No, born in the UK.
Really?
Yeah, I'm an Essex lad,
Right.
Chelmsford, Essex.
Really? So what took you out there? Obviously your parents.
Well, my parents are both South African, but Dad had a job at Marconi Radar. And married my mom, brought her across. And my brother and I were born here.
Yeah.
And then at about 5 years old, early 70s, moved back to South Africa because Dad was offered a job in South Africa. And Mum wanted her two darlings to grow up near the family.
So you moved over at 5, you were educated up until, what, leaving school?
Yeah, what we refer to as matric, which was somewhere, what I can gather, somewhere between the old O's and A levels.
Yeah. And
in Pretoria. And then I joined the military. I wanted to become a helicopter pilot. At that time, there was compulsory national service, and I applied for the Air Force, but my selection board was only going to be in the March of the first year I left school. So I decided I'd go and do my basic training, because of course I wasn't, didn't even enter my mind that I wasn't going to make my first selection. But after 3 months of basic training in the infantry, went to the selection board and didn't even make it through the first day.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So, but that didn't sort of stop me. I reapplied straight there and then, and got a January, this was March of 83, and in January of 84 got another date for a selection board, and then went back to complete my training as an infantry soldier, and actually went to the operational area that we were fighting a war at the time in southern Angola. So I spent time there, and went to my second selection board and made it. And
the competition for that must have been tough, because you need a lot of soldiers, but there can't be that many helicopter pilots.
Well, you applied to be for pilot training, so whether you were fast jet transport or helicopter, you did the same initial training and then went you to 3 different ways. But I believe our course were about 2,000 applicants, of which we were 22 that qualified at the end of the day, which is
amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
very proud of that.
Yeah, I was going to say about that made you feel proud. And so what did that, was that flying helicopters in Angola or? Well,
initially I qualified on a Second World War tandem seat Harvard, and then after that the helicopter course, and then yes, I did a co-pilot tour on a Super Frelon, so a big helicopter up in southern Angola, or northern Southwest Africa as it was in those days. But I just got the last part of the war. The war ended in '89, but then it was, because we were such a small air force. There wasn't an army that flew or a navy that flew, it was just the Air Force. So we were a jack of all trades and master of all. You had to be.
Yeah, yeah.
From mountain rescue to sea rescue to VIP flying.
And you flew a particular VIP that's world famous.
Yeah, Madiba, as we used to call him, Nelson Mandela.
Really?
But
that was a thrill.
That was incredible. He was the best VIP I've ever flown around, and I'm not just saying it. VIPs are notorious. They're always late, and you're there for them. But he wasn't. He had so much respect for us as a crew that he was always on time, always listened to us, and it was fantastic. And after briefed him, and he had a headset so he could hear everything that was going on sitting in the back of the helicopter, but he would keep quiet during takeoff, and then after we'd taken off, we got going, he would can I talk now? And then he would just natter away, and we just chat about all sorts of things. It was wonderful. One of the best memories I have of him is, in fact, the day after he was guest of honour on HMS Britannia, as a guest of Her Majesty the Queen, and that was a Saturday night. I think it was on the Sunday I went to pick him up to fly him, And we arrived early, and we ended up going and having coffee with him in his lounge, and just chatting about general things as you do, what it was like to be the guest of honour with Her Majesty. And that's the type of person he was. He was incredible. And I've always seen him as, I got to know him quite well and flew him quite frequently, and as a kind of mentor. I don't know if he ever saw himself as that to me, but that's what I saw it. And I still to this day, I have my virtual power teams, and my dad and my brother and various people that I've met in my life that have influenced me. He is absolutely one of them. And I often, if depending on the circumstances, I might ask, Madiba, what would you do now? And go back and think about how he was. And I found that incredibly useful over the years. He was a phenomenal man. Now, he was the type of person that commanded respect. It was just, I don't know whether it was, he wasn't a small man, he was a tall man. He was over 6 foot. And
Really?
he'd been a boxer in his early days. So he did have a presence about him, but there was just something when he spoke, it was as if you were the only person in existence at that moment in time for him.
Yeah,
and,
in the moment.
It was incredible. And I think what we can learn from him, the lessons just in general life, if we had to go into every meeting or any interaction we had with human beings, before we do that, actually think, wonder what Madiba or what Nelson Mandela would do in the same circumstance. And I think a lot of us could do a lot better by doing that.